What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more fighting. What a fucking fight. UFC 202 definitely lived up to the hype. I want to give my post-fight thoughts. Conor McGregor, the notorious Irishman, and Nate Diaz. I'm not surprised, motherfuckers. So I just watched it, and for the first time on one of my post-fight videos, I feel like I need to give it a second viewing just to make sure, because fights like this, I stop scoring when it's just so much rugged, back and forth, in the trenches type of action. The pace was constantly swaying in some of those middle to late rounds. So I don't even really know who I had winning. Like on one hand, I'm like, okay, Conor McGregor, he started off definitely stronger. But then Nate Diaz, he's a tough son of a bitch, and he did a lot in those middle to late rounds. So I'm going to do my best to break it down. I don't have all the rounds memorized, so I'm just going to kind of paraphrase and give you guys some cliff notes, the good and the bad and the ugly. So the good for Conor McGregor is round one. Round one set a tremendous tone for him. In the first fight, Conor McGregor was trying to have some tough man contest, and he was like, oh, I'm this big, bad, notorious one, and just because I slept Jose Aldo in 13 seconds, that I'm going to do that to a taller, bigger, durable, proven durable person like Nate Diaz. And that was a foolish game plan, very foolish, especially since he had a full camp, but he had a full camp training at a different weight for RDA, and he had a full camp training for a different style and a different person totally, right? So that was stupid, and he gassed out, lost. He paid the price in the second round. So I thought round one was a certain improvement. He definitely made an adjustment. The other thing that I liked about round one is he implemented those leg kicks. And for whatever reason, Nate Diaz was not checking the leg kick, and he was just accepting them and taking them. And he was hitting them with some hard shit. If you look at Conor McGregor's legs, he has really like thick like quads, and you know what I'm saying? He's a pretty built dude, pause. So the fact that he landed those leg kicks, I think it really started to bother you. At one point, I don't know what round it was, but he landed a vicious leg kick, and you see Nate Diaz, his legs buckle. So that wasn't a good sign. You see a lot of redness around the thigh area of Nate Diaz. So I think Conor McGregor definitely made an adjustment in those first three rounds, the first two rounds especially, where he was playing more like the boxer, kind of like a Holly Holm style with Ronda Rousey, where he was picking off his shots. He was using his accuracy, his speed. And this is the other thing I could tell Conor McGregor, he trained to be at this weight, you can tell. And instead of last time he said he ate up, and I'm not making any excuses because I wanted Diaz to win the first fight anyway, but you could tell he kind of just put on extra pounds to be at an adequate size in the first fight versus this fight, because he looked quicker. He still had his reflexes and his quickness that he had in the lighter division at this division. So it looked like he put on the weight better from my perspective, because he still looked quick in there. Just good, like I said, Holly Holm, good with his strikes, very quick, and just kind of in and out. And one thing I did notice that I liked at first, when Conor McGregor was basically, he was landing some good 1-2s, like bout, good strikes, and then he would take a lap. But then it got a little bit excessive, and I think it wasn't part of the game plan. It was out of him being gassed out. So let me talk about what I like from Nate Diaz. He's tough as nails. You have to virtually kill that man, or otherwise he's like the Terminator looking for Sarah Connor. He's coming and he won't stop. His face was peppered. His legs had to be sore, right? His face was busted. I think Nate Diaz has a lot of scar tissue, because the way he started leaking in some of those later rounds was pretty profusely. He was bleeding. So I think it's a lot of scar tissue. But he was dealing with it. I know that impairs your vision when you got blood trickling down in your eyes and stuff, but he dealt with it like a true thug. Stockton 209, and that's what I really like from Nate Diaz. Very durable. And not only did he deal with that, he started making it a fight. And there were parts in the fight where it, like, at first I'm like, oh, it's looking bad for Nate Diaz based on the leg kicks and the striking of Conor McGregor. But that constant, relentless Terminator style pressure of Nate Diaz started getting to Conor, and he was quickly had a reality check that he's in there with a bigger man and someone that's durable, and he's gonna have to put something special together to get him out of there. Because he even said post-fight, he says Joe Rogan asked, hey, did you work on leg kicks? You had some beautiful leg kicks. And he's like, you damn right I did, but I thought they would have more of a toll. See, he thought, that's what I'm saying. He's taking Diaz lightly in the sense of he felt like he's so strong. You have to consider this, you're still the little man compared to him. This is not Jose Aldo or, you know what I mean, like a Frankie Edgar, a smaller guy. This is a full-fledged 6 foot dude, you know what I mean, who's durable, who's tough, and has a tough mindset. So I like the adjustments that Nate Diaz made because he didn't cower. He got knocked down, I think, in the first couple of rounds with strikes, but he was always game throughout. And then he started to push a relentless pace that clearly was bothering Conor McGregor. Then all of a sudden things flipped, and it looked like Conor McGregor was on his way out because he started to gas, and he wasn't looking the same. He was looking lethargic. And I know Conor McGregor realizes this might not be his weight class, so he needs to stop calling out guys like he said, I think at one point he said he will fight like the Tyron Woodleys and Lawlers of the world and stuff like that. I don't think he looks the same. I think he needs to drop down. He was competitive with Diaz, but some of those dudes are real big. So, and that's why he called for the rematch. He said we could do the trilogy, but we do it on my terms at 155, because I think he's done with this whole 170 biz, because it's clear he's not at his best in terms of conditioning. He seems, I noticed it in both fights, that he seemed gassed out at different spots. But they both showed a tremendous amount of heart, kept pushing through the trenches, and Nate Diaz, he kept going for a takedown. I think Conor McGregor had really good takedown defense. But the 5th round, this is why I got to rewatch the whole thing again, because it was a great fight. But not only that, is the 5th round was kind of like a deciding type of round based on the success that they both had in the first 4 rounds. And the 5th round was a deciding round, and Conor McGregor came out sharp, and he was blasting Diaz with some good shit, some good combos, 1-2s. But then midway through, he seemed kind of gassed out again, and Nate Diaz started piling on him. And then in the last 10 seconds, he got a takedown, which is scoring, and then he started trying to hit him. He started doing the ground and pound. I mean, some of it was blocked or whatnot, but Nate Diaz clearly won the second half of round 5. So it's really hard to gauge who won that fight, because the 5 was like a deciding round, and Conor started the round off good, but Nate Diaz definitely punctuated the round. I think he had him against the cage, and he landed a brutal like elbow, and he landed some good shit and some good strikes. After the fight, Nate Diaz was like, I want part 3. I'm too real for this sport. They're not gonna let a motherfucker like me win. So I think a lot of people thought if it was a close fight, where the decision would go, they would try to keep it with the quote-unquote cash cow of the UFC, keep him in his, get him back in the winning ways and a W in the section, in the win column or whatnot. So I got to rewatch it to see. I do know it was a good fight from first viewing. They were both pushed to the brink. I could tell you this was almost on some gladiator type shit, where like survival of the fittest, like fight till you die type shit. So this was like real life Bloodsport, some Kumite shit, the way they were going at it. But I think Conor McGregor, now that he quote unquote avenged that first loss, took him the distance, made some adjustments. I don't think we'll see him at 170 for any time in the near future. I think he realizes that's not his best weight. It seems like a bit much, because like I said, he always gets these spots where he seems lethargic. And then what if you get in there with someone who's even more of a big puncher than a Nate Diaz? So I don't know. I got to rewatch it to determine what I truly feel. It seemed like it could have went either way, and that 5th round was a pretty big round, and they both did good things. But I think the second half plus the takedown, that was a really good round for Nate Diaz, just because he punctuated it like that. But close fight. They gave it to Conor McGregor. Let me know who you gave it to. Do you think Diaz won, or are you happy with Conor McGregor winning? It's really a fight of halves, and in addition to it being a fight of halves, some of the rounds were rounds of halves. Like, you know what I mean, who had the better half of the round. So again, I kind of got to watch it again to see where I would like place my scorecard, because I stopped scoring, because like I said, it was just some brutal shit. I liked the Conor leg kicks and everything early, and then Nate Diaz, I like how he started trying to bully Conor McGregor and push him against the cage, and he was he was smothering him and pressuring him. You have to, and Conor McGregor didn't know, I don't know, he had good takedown defense, but it looked like that was zapping some of his energy when he was getting pushed to that cage. So Nate's, I don't know, I guess Nate, it's just because Nate's big and he's a dog. So it was a dog fight, epic war. Definitely a UFC fight of the year. Drop in the comment section, let me know what you thought. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off.